Hello, this is Timothy Perfect from Twocanoes Software, and I wanted to show you what's new in MDS 1.5. We added some great new features, and I want to kind of cover the highlights of them. Before I get started, I want to remind you to please subscribe to this channel. Just click on the red button that says subscribe, and you'll get notified when we have new videos. We do videos on MDS as well as WinClone, other products, and also some Mac OS and Mac tips and tricks. So please click on subscribe. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to highlight some of the, like I said, some of the new features of MDS 1.5. The first one is the script and profile ordering. So this has been one of the important ones to where do you want to have packages installed. So under resources, we've now added these up and down arrows, which allows you to specify ordering. So in packages, I'm installing Boot Runner on this, and so I can have the option to install the package before Mac OS gets installed or after Mac OS gets installed. And so this is really important for things that are very like WinClone packages, where if you install it after Mac OS, it'll install when it's after Mac OS is installed, and it boots into Mac OS, and then it'll install the package. So that means that package may need to be repackaged, copied over to the destination drive, and then installed when Mac OS is done. So if you have a very large image, like for example a WinClone image that's inside of a package, copying that, it could be an 80 gig, a 90 gig, 150 gig image inside of a package. You don't want to have that copying around. So you would just select it to do before Mac OS installation. So I actually have in my resources, a WinClone image in here. So let me just go into my resources, and I'll move my WinClone package into my packages folder, and I can see it shows up in this menu. And I want to take this Windows 10 package and do it before Mac OS installation. So what that means is that when we run this workflow in the recovery partition or on external volume, it will, before it erases the volume and installs Mac OS, it'll actually install this package. And what the WinClone package does is it creates a new partition. It'll restore Windows 10 onto it, set it as bootable, and then at that point it'll go through and erase Mac OS and install Mac OS on it. So this setup is a very common configuration. If you have Boot Runner and WinClone, you would have WinClone package that's before Mac OS installation, and then the other packages are after Mac OS is installed. So this is kind of a key feature if you have large WinClone images or something like WinClone images or packages that you want to install. The same feature is true for scripts. You can do after packages or before packages. So packages are installed in 1.5 after Mac OS is installed, and so this will do. You can specify to say, oh, I want to have this done before the packages, because you may set something on the drive that packages then use that later. A good example of this is like maybe you want to set up you have a package that installs a user account, but you have a script that goes ahead and sets the default background. So you want to do that after packages because the packages create the user. Well, actually, you want to do it before because that sets up the template. Then when the user is created, actually you'll use that. So you're able to specify the ordering here. Same thing for profiles. You can do this after packages or before packages. I'm actually doing a certificate. It doesn't really matter when it's installed. But let's say an example of a package that required the certificate, like enrolling in MDM. You might want to install the package beforehand, then the profile gets installed, and at that point it would be able to use that certificate. So that's a good example of how profiles or how ordering is important. So the next feature I want to show you is a password hint. So now when you're creating a user under user account, if you go through and specify, we had all these options before, but now we've added in password hint. So if you go in and say something like keep all your passwords in the main password database, you can specify database. You can specify that, and now when the user gets created, that password hint's then added, and it'll prompt the local admin to be like, oh, I need to go and find that password someplace else. Or you could just use it as a standard password hint and just kind of prompt the user to be able to do it. We see this very common with local admins' user accounts to be able to prompt them to what store that it's stored into, and they can go and get it from there. So that's kind of the three main features of MDS 1.5, the ability to do script and profile ordering, and then the pre-OS and post-Mac OS install for doing things like large packages and WinClone. And then finally that password hint that's available when you're creating the user account. thanks very much for watching. Please go to twocanoes.com and check out the latest news and guides on the MDS product page. Check out some of our other software offerings. Make sure you go and click on the subscribe link below, and you'll be notified when other videos are coming out. We're already hard at work on MDS 1.6 and features for 1.7. So be sure to subscribe and keep up to date. Thank you very much for watching.